Well, I'm so excited to be back with you again on today. Today we're going to be talking about 3 types of income. How you earn it and where you earn it matters. If you want to keep more money and make more money and elevate your life and be financially free, you don't want to miss this today because we're going to talk to you specifically about these 3 types of income. Well, before I get to it, I want you to do me a favor, subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell so we'll notify you every time we're putting up this great content, because I want you to help us build a substantial channel here so that we can help many more people. All right, well, today I want to get to this right away. We're talking about 3 types of income, and we're talking about how you earn it and where you earn it matters. Well, let's get into it. All right, so income type number 1 is active income, and it's compensation from employment or actual involvement of a business. It includes wages, salaries, tips, etc. Taxation, which is always going to be important in this video today. Personal taxes range from 10% to 37%. And I want you to understand that that means if you've got a job, your taxes are somewhere between 10 and 37%. Now, in addition to that, there are Social Security taxes, which are 12.4%. The employee pays 50% of that. So that means another 6.2% is coming out of your pay. Then there's Medicare, which is paid by the individual of 1.45%. So as you can see, this type of income can be taxed at a rate of almost 50%. If you are at the higher end of the tax bracket, you could be giving up 50% of your income simply to taxes. This is the most talked about form of income. Remember someone telling you to get a good job and keep it? Remember that type of advice that you've gotten? Well, this is what they're signing you up for. The get a good job and keep it mentality is signing you up to give a lot of your money away in the form of taxation. Number 2 is portfolio income. This is income from investments and includes capital gains, interest, dividends, and royalties. Various types of portfolio income are taxed differently. For instance, capital gains on investment, meaning that I bought an investment and this is what it has gained. If you hold it longer than 12 months, you're taxed at a rate now between 0 and 20%. I want you to see that. The top number is 20%. So if I buy stock, and my stock goes up in value, the most I'm going to be taxed on that income is 20%. Capital gains on investments held less than 12 months are taxed as active income. So if you get it and don't hold it for the 12-month period, it's taxed differently. And that's not as critical or important because people who do like day trading, for instance, they've already figured that number in and they work it because of the amount of income that they're pulling in. So portfolio, again, so we can see this, is not subject to Social Security and Medicare. So the 6.2 and the 1.45, it's not even in portfolio income, which is from investments, capital gains, interest, dividends, and royalties. All right. Capital gains can be offset by losses on other investments. That's another perk. So that if I'm actually investing and I have capital gains from my investment, I can offset it from losses somewhere else. So great accounting can see to it that I'm not paying nowhere near the amount of money that someone with a job is paying. This is why you can see, we've heard stories about Warren Buffett, where Warren Buffett's tax rate was lower than his secretary when he was making billions of dollars a year. And this is because of the benefits that exist based upon where you earn your money from. She had a job, he was an investor, and that's a big difference. So portfolio is clearly better than active because the highest rate is 20%, and even then you have the ability to lessen it by offsetting it with other things. So that's very important. Number 3, passive income. According to IRS, it comes from 2 sources: rental activities or business activities in which you do not materially participate. Let's make this clear. What this means is that if you own rental property, the income from that property would be passive income. Also, if you participate in a limited partnership where you invest in real estate business, your income would be passive. Now, passive income is taxed much lower than active income because you can lower the income to be taxed by the expenses you encounter to make the income. So if you repair or have a property manager pay taxes, insurance, etc. on property, you can lower your taxable income by deducting the expense. It is different from active income because you cannot deduct your personal housing expenses from your active income prior to paying taxes. When you've got a job, you can't say, well, I got a mortgage, I'm deducting that. Well, I got a car note, I'm deducting that. You can't do that. But when you own property, you have the ability. So I've given you the three types of income there. You've got active income, you've got portfolio income, and now we're talking about passive income. Let's go on. So now, major principles that we must consider. Principle number one, the closer you are to where your money is made, the more taxes you pay. I'm going to say that again because you've got to get this inside. The closer you are to where your money is made, the more taxes you pay. So that means distance matters. Active income, you're on a work site. You're actually there. You're working. Now, we know now there's hybrid work. There's people working from home. Things have shifted around, but it is considered you're on the clock. You're on the clock. You're there. That's active income. Two, passive income, real estate. You're at another location. The property is somewhere else. It's not where I am. It's somewhere else. Portfolio income. I'm investing in something that's digital. I'm investing in another business. It's stock. It's in another company. It's not where I am. I want you to get this in, that literally when they came up with this system, they decided to charge you more if you show up than they charge you if you don't. So you've got to get this in your mind that says, look, I've got to find a way. I've got to find a way to get away from where I make my money. I got to find a way. I'm saying it. I got to find a way to get away from where I make my money. Let's keep going. Why you must learn this principle. The person with the wealthy mindset practices tax avoidance. Now, there's two words that are very important about tax. Tax avoidance, tax evasion. Tax avoidance is a legal action taken to lessen tax liability and maximize after-tax income. Tax evasion is not paying the taxes that are due. But so this is not paying. This is I'm taking legal action to lessen. So when you're wealthy and you've got a wealthy mindset, you're taking every action possible to lessen tax liability. Remember when Donald Trump was running for president in 2016? They talked so much about him running in 2016 because they were saying he paid $750 in taxes or he paid no taxes. And he said he was smart because he learned how to use the tax code to his benefit. He made billions and yet he didn't pay much in taxes. You hear this argued about all the time when it's election time, that the rich don't pay taxes, the big companies aren't paying taxes. Well, the tax laws have been written in such a way that they can legally lessen tax liability and maximize after-tax income because of it. So the goal of a person with a wealthy mindset, that's you, is not to make more money. It's to keep more money. See, the job is going to take 37% if you make a lot of it. It's then going to take 6.2% for Social Security, and then it's going to take 1.45% for Medicare, and it doesn't care. You can't lessen it. But if you learn how to get away from where you make your money, you start getting rewarded by the system by having the ability to use legal means to lessen your tax liability. This is so good and so important. So that's number one. Number two, the closer you are to where the work is done, the less you make. I want you to hear this. What we talked about taxes. Now we're talking about how much money you can make. The closer you are to where the work is done, the less you make. You got to get away from where the work is happening. Why you must learn principle two. The person with the wealthy mindset is not paid by how hard they work, but for the asset they are to the company or the wisdom to invest in it. At this level, your ability to see and understand the big picture picture gets you paid. Employees are trained to see their piece, but portfolio and passive income people are trained to see big picture. I'll give you an example. Imagine you're the kitchen worker versus the restaurant owner. Well, the kitchen worker is right where the work is being done. The owner may not even be in the building. Let's look at the basketball player who's on the court, going up and down the court. In our system, we watch the NBA and we say, man, big contracts. But what about the owner who's never on the court unless the game is over? He's making way more money than the guy playing. You've got to understand where the work is done, you make less money. What about the Apple employee versus the Apple investor? The Apple employee is showing up every day. They got income and that income is being taxed. The investor, though, is portfolio. I'm an Apple investor. I've been an Apple investor for years and years and years. The investor has their income, but it's not income from work. So it's not being taxed as though I am where it's happening. Let's keep going. Principle number 3, the person who lacks knowledge is the servant of the one who has it. Investing in yourself will be your greatest investment. Learn the stock game, the real estate game. Invest in yourself and your skills. So let's get clarification. Do you really want it? You have to be willing to invest your extra time pushing towards it. You got to find time to pick up materials that talk about portfolio and passive income. You got to get out of active income. Work to invest. It's not just about making money. You also need to hold on to it. View savings as an opportunity, not a sacrifice. I get to save. I'm excited. By saving, you pay yourself first, and your future will show the fruits of your labor. Lastly, get some plans and work them. You will never get today back, so don't waste it on ignorance when knowledge is available. So let's give you some stuff to consider here. 7 things you need to do now. 1, connect with this message. I've given you 3 strong principles, and I've helped you see the 3 types of income. Connect with it. 2, if you're working a job, use 10 to 20% of your income for savings and investing. This is how you make your active income produce passive or portfolio income. So I don't have to leave the job right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this knowledge that I have, and I'm going to start making that income by me passive and portfolio income. 3, connect with other people who have a wealthy mindset and avoid the mind-altering conversations of those who reject wealthy. There's always going to be somebody around you talking about, oh, that stuff don't matter. Get away from it. 4, teach others what you learn and teach them to verify everything. Everything that I'm saying, everything that you hear, don't turn your brain off and get excited. Verify it. Look it up. See if these tax codes and rates and all that stuff that I said is correct. Look it up. 5, when you are successful, meaning you have tried, find ways to pay it forward. 6, do not fear failing, because in every effort is the seed of success. 7, don't be afraid to spend time, money, and energy on the things that bring you to the place called wealthy. Don't be afraid to spend time, money, and energy. These are 3 great resources that each one of us has access to, because it's going to bring you to a place called wealthy. Well, listen, today I wanted to take this time, and I took it to share with you these 3 types of income to help you understand how you earn it and where you earn it matters. You can't afford to forget this. You can't afford to not be connected to what is being shared on this channel, because if you connect to it, it's going to turn your life and the generations you're connected to around. So I'm excited, as you can tell, to have shared this with you on today. I didn't get to read that in a book. I had discovered this, and then I had to come and sit down and put together things that would help other people. And then I started finding a way to get away from things that would have me stuck and locked in. And then I started picking up books that made what I was feeling make sense. Well, I'm here to share with you today that you have got to make a decision. Am I going to spend the rest of my life only in active income? Or if I'm in active income today, will I find a way to use some of it to build portfolio and passive income? It is really your decision. It's your choice. You alone get to make it. And if you choose to make it toward investing, you're going to see the benefits come to pass. Well, subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell, give me a like. If you've got questions, comments, whatever, please leave them in the description for this video, because I promise you there's some more great fiery stuff coming as we're going to help you build, live, and sustain a wealthy life. Be blessed. Have an awesome day.